This is the throttle we've been waiting for. The Ursa Minor 32 throttle metal paired with 32 PAC metal, WINWING's most anticipated release of the year. If you fly Airbus and Microsoft Flight Simulator, this combo is the one that finally gets the detents right. No more guessing, just precise mechanical clicks. Reverse, idle, climb, flex, toga, all mapped, calibrated, and ready to go. But here's the twist. It's not fully metal. And that might actually be the smartest part of the design. I'll show you why that decision makes more sense than you think. I first tried early versions at FS Weekend in Netherlands and then again at Flight Sim Expo. The early prototype already felt excellent when I tried it FS Weekend, but the final retail version, even better. Tighter, cleaner, and more refined in every detail. Today, I'm breaking down the full experience, unboxing, setup, mapping, calibration, and the full real-time flight test. But stay tuned, because things get a little intense later on. Let's just say there was an engine fire on approach and a one-engine landing into Ibiza. Could we make it out alive? Let's get into it. This combo comes in two separate boxes, one for the Ursa Minor 32 throttle metal and the other one for the 32 PAC metal. Let's start with the throttle. First out, a USB data cable. Then, the nano double-sided adhesive dots. Next, a hex socket tool and set of 4 engine label stickers for multi-engine setups. A QA certificate. And finally, the throttle itself. Full-length levers, metal housing, and smooth movement right out of the foam. It's not quite full scale, but it feels so close. The detents are physical, solid, and instantly satisfying. Up next is the expansion that adds Airbus-style flap and speed brake logic, and it's built just as tough. Inside the box, you get SATA data cable plus extra cables for backup, full set of screws and hex tools, QA certificate, 2 plates, one for speed brake, one for flaps, and of course, the PAC unit itself with clean detent stops and press down logic that mirrors the real aircraft. Before mounting anything, you'll need to connect the PAC to the throttle using 2 screws that secure the units together. Once that's done, plug in the SATA data cable between them. From there, the entire combo runs on a single USB cable to your PC, thanks to a cascading USB setup. One connection, less clutter, and no separate power cables. Once assembled, I mounted the throttle using WINWING's Throttle Desk Mount 5 with a profile bar 1 clamped directly to my desk. The whole setup feels solid and stays exactly where you want it. For better support, I rested the desk mount on the next level racing chair side plates. Once connected, open SimApp Pro and confirm that both devices are detected. There's a switch that lets you disable detents completely if you prefer smooth throttle travel, especially if you want to use this throttle outside of Airbus. And the tension dials allow you to fine-tune how much resistance you want on the thrust levers. Whether you like it light or stiff, you can dial in to your preference. One more detail I love, the reverse thrust latch. It works exactly like real Airbus. It stays lifted when in reverse, means you just can't slide the throttle straight from idle to toga unless the latch is released. That extra step adds a layer of realism and prevents accidental movement. Speed brake, you can arm it, and just like your real Airbus, you have to press down before adjusting. The same thing for flaps. They move in Airbus-style steps. No jumping from flaps 1 to 4. That logic is built in. I used to fly with a Thrustmaster Warthog, which has been retired from my setup. I never owned the Thrustmaster Airbus throttle. I tested it, and frankly, it always felt too flimsy to trust. This combo from WINWING is in a whole different league. Now, to be clear, this isn't entirely full metal construction, but what you do get is a smart, solid design. While the throttle, speed brake, and flap levers are plastic, they all use metal cores, frames, and mechanical detents. And all of that is mounted on a single die-cast aluminum baseplate. It feels strong. You can tell it's built to last. Now let's talk mapping. I chose to map everything manually in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Instead of explaining every mapping, I'll just show you my exact setup on the screen. Feel free to pause the video and copy the same bindings if you want to match my configuration. Alternatively, you can use SimApp Pro built-in profile system. Load the Airbus profile and you're good to go. I've linked the detailed guide from WINWING in the description. If you're setting this up for the first time, don't skip this part. In some cases, you might notice that the flap and speed brake axis don't respond at all in SimApp. Now, that doesn't mean that they aren't working. It just means that they haven't been calibrated yet. I recommend doing this calibration regardless. It ensures full analog detection and proper range behavior. Here's how for speed brake. Open SimApp Pro, go to the test page. Select speed brake detent calibration. Move the lever to full, then half, then red. And for flaps, go to flat detent calibration, as shown on the screen. Move to flap 4, 3, 2, then 1, and finally 0. Calibrate both, and you're done. Now you have proper analog detection across the full range. If you're flying the Fenix Airbus A320, there's one more step. You want to calibrate inside the aircraft MCDU so that detents align properly. Go to the config page, then control config. Click Calibrate. Move the throttle into each detent as prompted. Repeat for every position, then click Store Calibration. Same thing for flaps. Just flip to the next page and repeat the steps. Once stored, the hardware and software will be in perfect sync. Now let's put this setup through a real test. This was the first live stream I did with Ursa Minor 32 setup, flying the WINWING A320 from Barcelona to Ibiza. What you're about to see is exactly how the hardware handled it in real time. But when you
Welling 9025, pushback approved to face east.
Pushback approved face east, Welling 925. Okay, good. Okay, so let's release the parking brakes. We're going to use the WINWING parking brake control. Here we go. Release the parking brakes released. Okay, fantastic. Now let's start engine 1.
Starting engine 1.
Okay.
We're going to go to start and then get number 1 started.
Ryanair 38 Alpha Victor, push and start approved. Pushback approved.
Alright, we're starting the engines, pushing back, facing east. We're expecting runway 02. Once again, thanks everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Starting engine 2.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get number 2. And of course, you'll hear the PTU bark. Startup mode to normal. Yeah, let's arm the speed brakes. Let's set takeoff flaps. Okay. Takeoff flaps set.
Ibiza 2603, contact tower on 122.1.
Terrain and ND. And we're going to quickly just make sure we have to take off config. Taxi runway 2 via Lima, Echo 3 Juliet, Lima Sierra, Kilo 7, Welling 923. Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear.
Oh man, this thrust is so nice. Feels so good. Feels so good. There we go. We're now taxiing to runway 02. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cleared.
Takeoff runway confirm. Approach path clear of traffic.
Okay, exterior lights are
Cabin
set.
crew be seated for
cabin
takeoff.
Crew be seated for takeoff. Backs are off. And we're now lining up 02 departure for Ibiza. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for your support.
Departure on 119.105.
Alright,
easy
02.
125.
And let's do the lineup checklist.
Lineup checklist.
Takeoff runway.
Runway 02 confirmed.
Runway 02 confirmed. TCAS.
TRA.
TARA.
PACs 1 and 2.
Off.
Off.
Lineup checklist completed.
Alright, here we go. Line up and brake. Alright, let's spin up the N1s to 40%. Stable.
Takeoff.
Check.
We'll set it to flex instead of toga.
Man flex. 6, 9. SRS runway auto thrust blue.
Checked. Thrust set. 100 knots.
Checked.
Ryanair 9er Quebec Charlie, contact departure on 135.28.
Oh my god. Look at that. Yeah, it's
V1, rotate. Positive climb.
You're up.
Gear up.
Should
Gear up.
definitely aborted that takeoff right there. Oh man.
Welling 925, contact departure on 119.105.
Or departure 109 or 105. 10925.
Welling 50, Romeo Victor,
Climb thrust set.
02, ready for departure. Welling 50, Romeo Victor.
There we go. Just reported Barcelona. Look at that on the left hand side. Backs are on. And we're now accelerating to S speed, so we're going to retract the flaps shortly. Look at that beautiful Barcelona on the left hand side. And yeah, we need to set the chronos as well. Alright, so AP1. And S speed.
Flaps 0.
Speed check.
0. Tracking the flaps. There we go. We're flying to Ibiza, so very short flight to the party capital of Spain and maybe the world.
1,000 to go.
1,000 to go. Before arrival into Ibiza, we decided to make it a bit spicy. I triggered the engine 1 fire. We went through the ECAM procedures, shut it down, and then fly the approach with single engine. Okay, there we go. Engine 1 fire. All right. Key thrust lever. Idle. Let's do that. Confirming. Engine 1 fire. And engine 1 thrust idle. Engine master is off. Confirming. Engine master 1 is off. Alright. And PB is push. Engine 1 PB is push. And Agent 1 after 2, 1. Okay, Agent 1 discharge.
We'll be arriving at our destination shortly. If you are making a connection to another flight,
Agent 1 script discharge, confirmed.
This flight or video monitors inside the terminal for connecting gate information.
Okay, engine mode select to ignition.
Safety, flight attendants will now walk through the cabin to secure it for landing. We'll be collecting all service
Imbalance
items,
monitor.
newspapers,
Let's
and
do
any
that.
other items you wish to discard or may not be taking off the aircraft with you.
Okay, no imbalance, good.
Also, please turn
TCAS
off
mode
all
selected
electronic
TA.
devices. Stow these
TCAS
devices
mode selected
and all other
TA.
carry-on items. Please use caution when opening overhead bins as items may have
Alright,
shifted during
thrust
our
levers
flight.
move.
Please stow your tray tables and return your seats to their upright positions and check the security of your seatbelts. We will be landing shortly. Thank you.
The auto thrust is limited. Okay, land ASAP.
You're squawking 7700. What is your emergency?
Welling 9025. We have engine number 1 fire. We just extinguished it. We have the complete engine failure. We'll just need to land ASAP in Ibiza.
Welling 9025. Roger. Declared emergency acknowledged. Descend altitude 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 24 approach. Advise when ready for vectors or any assistance.
Descent 3000 would like vectors for ILS 24 approach Welling 9025. Yeah, this one has the idle reverse detent, so we should be okay. So we're not going to use the full reverse. We'll use idle reverse. That's what's recommended, so that we don't have asymmetric reverse. So we'll use idle, not full. Ibiza Tower, good morning, Welling 9025. Mayday, 1 engine failure inbound, ILS runway 24.
Welling 9025. Ibiza Tower, roger. Continue approach. Runway 24, cleared to land. Emergency services notified. Attention, all aircraft.
Flaps 1.
Inbound emergency
Flaps
aircraft
1.
on final
Speed check.
approach to runway 24.
Okay, flaps 1. And we're emergency aircraft inbound to land. And then flaps 2.
Flaps 2.
Check speed.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to slow down now.
2,500.
Radar altimeter alive.
Check.
Chanex 47, Mike Alpha, contact departure on 134 decimal, plate 25.
And then gear down.
Gear down.
Ibiza Tower.
Cabin crew be seated for landing.
458 Super.
Gear down.
Established localizer runway 24.
Okay, let's do flaps 2.
Flaps 2.
Speed checked.
Okay, flaps 2. Now let's slow it down further. And then flaps 3.
Flaps 3.
Sync rate.
Kestrel
Speed
4
check.
Bravo Kilo,
1000.
Check.
execute missed approach procedure. Contact
three.
approach on 134 decimal 825.
Colors on.
Contact ground on 121
Manual flight.
decimal 903.
Landing checklist.
ECAM memo. 100 above.
Check. Landing no blue.
Landing checklist completed.
Minimum.
Minimums.
Continue.
Continue.
Check.
Here we go. We're landing wheel engine. Config 3.
500.
Just a bit of an asymmetric thrust.
Vision Jet 69er Yankee, welcome to Ibiza. Contact ground on 121 decimal 903.
30. 20.
Recital.
Spoilers. Reverse green. Decel.
Fueling 22 Papa Romeo Ibiza Tower radar contact.
70 knots.
Alright, there it is. There you go. The landing with one engine. And we're just gonna exit right on the high speed. Ibiza Tower, Welling 9025, vacated on Echo 7. Waiting for emergency services.
Bowling 925, Ibiza Tower. Emergency vehicles are on their way. Stay put.
Alright, here we go. There's the
Bowling
emergency
925,
services.
emergency services are on their way. Hold position.
Here we go. There they are. There we go. We landed safely in Ibiza and ready to party. The hardware held up beautifully, even in high-stress situations like these. Now, let's talk price, because that part of what makes this combo so compelling. You're getting this throttle combo together for a price that seriously undercuts a lot of competitors in the space, because you're getting the premium level hardware without the premium level pricing. And this is where WINWING truly shines. Now, to summarize all this, the throttle combo nails the feel, lets me stop second guessing and start flying by the feel. The Airbus logic works the way it should, and smooth detents make the sim flying feel real again. Compared to my old Thrustmaster setup, it's a massive leap forward. And no, it's not full scale, but unless you're building a full cockpit, you won't need more than this. For the price and functionality, it hits the absolute sweet spot. Let's admit it, you won't get the same quality for the price anywhere else. If you fly Airbus in any sim and want a serious Airbus throttle setup without building a full home cockpit, this is it. And if you're frustrated with soft detents or wobbly reverse thrust on lower end hardware, this combo fixes all that. It's rock solid and feels fantastic. But if you're after full metal and scale dimensions or certified training gear, you'll want to look elsewhere. This is designed for majority of simmers and not training centers. Let me know what throttle you're currently using and what matters most to you in a setup like this. I'd love to hear what you think. All links are in the description. And if you found this helpful, hit that like and subscribe. And as always, fly smart, fly safe, and keep chasing the horizons.